So this was going to be a video about Joker 2, and my reaction to that idea that broke news today, as well as the news that Todd Phillips might be helming multiple other DC villain origin movies, or likened that to of the Joker movie, right? And then Deadline came out and just called the Hollywood Reporter clickbait, saying literally not only is the Joker 2 news that you may have heard, clickbait, but it is also the other news about other DC origin movies are also not true. It doesn't mean that it won't happen one day, but as of the meeting that the Hollywood Reporter is claiming that took place, it is completely false. And then guys, Variety came out and said that there is some kind of talks. There is some kind of talks to do with Joker 2, to the point of where it's in, would you even call it early talks? It's in the idea phase. And we'll get onto this in further detail in a second, but as of the DC villain movies likened to that of the Joker in the future that we all want to see, that is false. So where is the truth? My monitor just died. But yeah, where is the truth in all of this? I thought, regardless of whether this is true or not, at the end of the day, this may be at the end of the day, way in the future, until we actually really find out what the heck's going on with other movies likened to that of Joker being created. I thought it'd be interesting to discuss because, well, DC Black Label, if that's even what we're going to call it, which Todd Phillips, I believe, has called it something like that before. I need more of those movies. So let's talk about this, guys. So if you are enjoying this video already, even though we're a minute or two in, hit that like button. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe to this channel, because I do all kinds of content like this. And whenever there's stuff like this to talk about, you can be damn sure I'm going to be talking about it. So the crazy thing about all of this is that I regard all of these trades, to be honest, as fairly respectable. Say what you will about whatever article you may have read at some time, but usually if something comes out from the Hollywood Reporter or Variety or Deadline, I usually more or less take their word for it in terms of if there's news of, I don't know, Birds of Prey, blah, 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 trailer is going to be released in 2 days kind of thing. You think, okay, yeah, whatever, that's true. That's maybe a bad example. But now, with what I just said, that's literally more or less the bottom line at the beginning of the video. They're all kind of saying different things. The Hollywood Reporter came out and said there are early sequel talks for Joker and other films as well. And then quite literally, Deadline said, nope, all of that is BS, clickbait, which is just interesting for then Variety to come out and say, okay, Joker is actually, the sequel to Joker is in very early talks, but all the other movies are no. So it's why, all of these are coming from sources, inside sources that they have. So it's do some of them share the same sources? Do some of them not? Who is kind of telling the truth here? So I'm going to just give my opinion on what I may kind of think could be happening. But at the end of the day, it's not I'm in the scoop of all of these three major trades talking about this stuff. And then I'm going to give my opinion on what I want to see and what I think Warner Brothers will do, just based on what I feel to be a no-brainer solution to all of this, or just what you would do given the success of Joker being a $1 billion plus freaking profitable blah 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 movie. So just to briefly recap on this, if you want to know the really inside details of what each report was saying, we'll go over that very quickly, and then I'll go on to talk about, well, what I said in terms of what I think will happen, blah blah blah. So the Hollywood Reporter said on October 7th, Joker director Todd Phillips headed into Warner Brothers Pictures Group chairman Toby Emmerich's office, etc., etc. Sources tell the Hollywood Reporter that he proposed an outsized idea, the rise to develop a portfolio of DC characters' origin stories, which is something that I would love, to be honest. Maybe other directors, I love Todd Phillips, but we'll get to that. But, more movies like Joker, hell yeah. Now, they go on to say that didn't exactly happen the way apparently Todd Phillips wanted it, due to Warner Brothers being very protective of the DC canon, and all other DC deals have been for one film and one film only. But apparently, Phillips did emerge from the meeting with the rights to at least one other DC story, and now that Joker has crossed the $1 billion mark, a sequel is on the way, as the movie keeps raking in money overseas. Phillips is in talks to reprise his role as director for a second Joker outing. But this is where it gets kind of funny, because Deadline literally then reported, don't dress for Joker sequel yet. Insiders say Todd Phillips never pitched origin film series on other DC characters. So listen to this one. The Joker sequel news that hit a trade today is great clickbait. But multiple inside sources said that while a sequel to the billion-dollar grossing film is an obviously likely eventuality that makes all the financial sense in the world, at this point there are no deals for a sequel, nor even any negotiations with director Todd Phillips or his co-writer Scott Silver to craft one. Then they go and say that multiple sources said no such October 7th meeting between Phillips and Emmerich occurred, and that Phillips hasn't even considered overseeing other DC character films. And then lastly, everyone, Variety kind of confuses the situation even more by saying Warner Brothers film chief Toby Emmerich has met with writer and director Todd Phillips and co-writer Scott Silver to explore possible ideas for a sequel to the drama about the early days of the Clown Prince of Crime. Insiders caution that the talks are very preliminary, no deal is in place, no storyline has been decided upon, and no script is currently being written. But then again, interestingly, they also supported what Deadline shot The Hollywood Reporter down for, in terms of saying insiders have shot down reports that Warner Brothers and DC are talking about having Phillips do origin stories for other comic book characters. So what is the truth in all of this? Well, I think it does lie in between all of it for sure. And why? How do I know that? How do I know that, not knowing anything about whatever these people seem to somehow be learning? Well, it's because look at Joker, a $1 billion plus R-rated movie. Obviously, DC should have learned through this that making more R-rated movies like this, giving directors their creative vision and all of that stuff that comes under the umbrella, is nothing but a good idea. So I think it's like a no-brainer move for DC to eventually, now I can't really give you a proper date for that, because what they've reported in a few of these articles is true, that they do have a fairly busy schedule over the next couple of years, including the Batman 2021, we've got Black Adam, we've got Birds of Prey, technically that's next year, but you know what I mean, there's even more. Suicide Squad 2. So to imagine a Joker sequel popping up in the next 2 or 3 years in the midst of all that, when I first heard this news, I was like, okay, interesting. But really, is that going to happen? I don't really know. And should it even happen is another question that a lot of people are asking. Will it kind of ruin the greatness of the first Joker movie? With regards to how ambiguous that is, what could Todd Phillips come up with if there was to be a second one that wouldn't undermine the great efforts and accomplishment of the first movie? So if we have the Hollywood Reporter initially saying that the Joker sequel is in early talks, and then we also have Variety saying that as well, but stressing that it is so preliminary, it's just should you even call it that? But then we have Deadline saying no to all of that. It kind of makes me think that, of course, there might be some talks about it. I'm not saying or confirming anything, by the way. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just saying, also through watching so many videos from Todd Phillips himself, when asked this question, it's well, yeah, sure, if there was the perfect idea, and given the success of this, you would have thought that maybe something has been spoken about it. If there wasn't this meeting that people were talking about that has taken place on October 7th with, him actually going in there saying, I want to do this, and I also want control over all the other characters in terms of villainy stories, would you give that to me? And then apparently that didn't happen. I definitely think that something is cooking up here. It wouldn't surprise me necessarily if they were discussing, in some form or another about a Joker sequel, just given the mad, success from that. I do also agree though with most people that it probably isn't for the best. No matter how much of me kind of would love to see another movie of Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker, and borderline, I just almost want it. Literally, I'm almost well, if they did come up with the right thing, then they could make it work, right? They could also add in the ambiguous elements still, make it trippy like that, but no matter what, it has way more probability of screwing up the amazing accomplishment of the first movie than it being just as good. It just has such a high chance of not going well that it's probably not worth it. But as for the talk about looking at other DC movies like Joker for other villains, I don't see how that isn't real. Like, why wouldn't they be looking at that, or why wouldn't they be talking about that? But I guess the debate is more specifically about, is Todd Phillips going to be making multiple ones, which is probably unlikely and has been shot down from a couple of places now, including Deadline and Variety. So it was interesting that the Hollywood Reporter was so bold and, you know, had such conviction and faith in what they had learned that they reported that. But, you know, at the end of the day, there's got to be future movies like this, and obviously everyone is mainly looking at stories like Lex Luthor to explore. I would absolutely love that. Also maybe Deathstroke you can do, or even like someone like Mr. Freeze seems to be a popular one as well. Imagine like as I said, like you've all probably seen Joker at this point. Obviously not copy and pasted of that, but imagine a gritty character study of Lex Luthor, a gritty character study of Victor Freeze or Victor Fries, whatever way you want to put it. And then, you know, or other characters, maybe even like Slade Wilson and carrying on. Or the Riddler. Man, it would just be so good. It's almost like impossible to say that they aren't looking at that. But the bigger question is, should Todd Phillips, or is he helming other films, and has he acquired one or two other rights to do like a Lex Luthor movie and a Slade Wilson movie? We don't know. Apparently, according to Variety and Deadline, that's a no. But apparently, according to Variety and the Hollywood Reporter, and not Deadline, that a Joker sequel is in extremely early talks. So it's like, what? So I'm going to leave this video there, guys. What do you think? Do you think that there is kind of likely that they are talking about Joker 2? Would you even like that to happen? Do you want there to be another Joker movie? I'm guessing for a lot of you it's probably a no, even though I bet a lot of people are also going to say yes, just because I understand, like, I'm greedy and I kind of want a Joker movie as well. But at the same time, I have to, like, not let that happen in my mind, because I just know it won't really be the best option. But as for other DC movies, hell yeah. But should Todd Phillips do them, or should other directors have a chance? It's probably unlikely in the first report, as they claim that Todd Phillips has landed, you know, multiple other DC villain movies. So I'm tending to believe that they're looking in that direction, but not Todd Phillips. Like, he hasn't secured multiple movie deals. But other than that, everyone, if you enjoyed this kind of rambly, discussion-y, bonusy video, leave a like on it, as it really does show your support for the channel, and I really do appreciate it. If you want to talk to me a bit further, you can do so by clicking that link in the top pinned comment. It's to my Discord server where I'm pretty active, so it'd be great to see some more of you there. But that is absolutely everything. Check out my past couple of videos here. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you Jokers in the next video. Goodbye.